Hey there, I'm TG LaFredo.
And I'm Paul Metaxas.
And if you're watching this video, you probably just got done watching our little art project called Gongfu.
Well, how did this all come about in the first place?
Well, thank you. I thought you'd never ask. I started with, it was a percussion composition, and I do those sometimes. It's a series that I call Naked Drummer in the Middle of the Night.
I call it that too now.
And I work in my studio and make weird clanging sounds during all hours. When we think about a gong, usually we think about one great big huge sound, right?
Yeah.
But it puts off all this low energy, and then it's got these little tings and tangs, and I just started thinking, what about a composition that would only use the gong, that just try to explore the different sounds with it? And so I did a draft of the audio and I sent it to you, and I didn't tell you what it was. I said, I want to do a video for this. Take a listen. What was your first impression then?
When I heard it, I enjoyed it as a percussion piece, and I could even pick out the stereotypical gong sounds, if you've ever heard that phrase, coined that phrase. But there was a lot of other things that I couldn't quite place. And we get into some shenanigans in the studio. I've heard a lot of things, and I said, well, I have an idea what these other sounds could be, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think you asked me if I went to the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought, like, maybe this is cutlery. On a board, there's parts where it's just like, what is the timbre?
No, but there is rice.
So I wasn't too far off. But when I came back to you and said, well, what's going on here? And you said, this is all gong. I went, okay, that's cool.
Well, thank you. Well, at that point, I wanted you to start kind of hatching some of the visuals. And I would like you to talk a little bit about your visual concept for the gong.
Sure. When I think of a gong, I think of this ominous creature. It harkens to war. And so the video should support that. It should look as big as it sounds, I think. So there was a lot of close-up shots. Oh, here's the water coming in. Just like this one. This was his idea, by the way. Excellent job.
Oh, thanks. I'll take it.
We did that with the GoPro.
We tried the GoPro, and we didn't...
And he poured the water. Wow.
We didn't know if it would work, but then when we saw the footage afterward, we were like,
yeah, there's your reflection in the gong, too. Yeah. It was cool. That's one of the main things it does. It'll distort images. There's all the pock marks that catch lighting a certain way.
It's such a complex instrument, you know?
Yeah, you could freeze a still of the video at any given time, and it's going to look different than any other frame. And that's a gong. I mean, if you've ever seen one in person, you'll know. But if you haven't, then you've got this video.
Yeah, I just really wanted to celebrate how beautiful and amazing the instrument is. You know, and it's brilliant, and it's got hammer blows all over it, and it's just...
It really does. So when the shots were coming in, there was a lot of tight shots and close-ups that it is the landscape. It almost looks like you're on another planet in this tiny creature beholden to the gong.
Yeah. And then you end up submerged in the end.
That's right. Leave you
hope
floating.
Hope you didn't mind.
Atmospheric gong pressure. We actually have a hyperlapse that we captured day of recording.
And there we are. When we see this, I always feel like we should hear the Benny Hill soundtrack.
Yeah. But I guess they should know that you're the one with the shaved head. I'm the one that's too hairy.
Oh, we should have mentioned that by now.
Yeah. There's an umbrella in my butthole, just for a second. The beauty of the angle from the loft.
This shot is for the ladies.
Yeah, I do my own stunts. Yeah, no doubles the whole time.
The thing I like, I'm going to try to wrangle it back here.
Okay.
The thing, there's a lot I like about this time lapse, and I like watching the sun make its way across the floor. The passage of time was it didn't feel like a long day, but it was a long day. We put a lot of time in.
I think there's at least 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours crammed into this.
Yeah.
So paint me like one of your French girls.
Some of it's seductive.
Yeah. That's the little things that come through in the recording process.
It's that. Well, I want to mention the recording process.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, in exploring the sounds from the gong, I wanted to get that kind of bass drum type sound. And I tried the gong in a bunch of different positions, and I tried a bunch of different microphones. And, like on the floor, and then the winner ended up being what you see in the video here. You'll see it in a few minutes, there it is.
It's happening
right there.
now.
Yeah, to put the gong on snare drum stands. And of course I needed the moving blankets to damp it. The gong has a lot of life to it, so I wanted to keep it tighter.
It resonates forever.
Right. So I wanted to keep it tighter and more focused. And I don't know, I thought that was interesting. And then, there are a bunch of different microphone choices that really helped to shape this. I used the carbon phone to get that kind of lo-fi backbeat sound. What else is in there? Well, the
hydrophone, of
the
course.
hydrophone. Thank you. I recorded a pass of that, and I wondered, well, will I use it? I don't know. And then, the more I thought about it, I thought, what would the Beatles do?
Not a bad thought to have.
And there's a story about Yellow Submarine where the young engineer Jeff Emmerich was in on the session, and John Lennon told him, I want it to sound like I'm underwater. Mm-hmm. And so they stuck a microphone in a condom, as one does.
The usual. Yeah.
And submerged it in a glass or a big jug of water, something like that. I don't know exactly all the details. Maybe Lennon had to stick his head in the water. And Anyway, take a listen. You may hear that in there somewhere.
You were rocking your rice to sleep there for a moment.
Yeah. Again, as one does.
Yeah, sure.
When we use that GoPro shot at the end, that's the sound of everything submerged. And I thought the last step would be, we've played the gong and gotten all these sounds out of it. How about use the gong as kind of a listening device? So
I think it's a brilliant idea. So just to make sure you caught it, he submerged the gong in water again, put the hydrophone down in there, and then played back the recording through it. And you're hearing it through the hydrophone underwater.
Yeah, that's post. You don't see that here because that was like one last little experiment that came to me, and I had to try it before I could call it a day.
We hope you've enjoyed Gongfu. We've had a lot of fun making it.
Yeah, and thank you. And if you enjoyed it, please share it with friends.
Yeah.
There you go. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, we are signing off.